Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Niners beat the Carolina Panthers tonight, 20-9 on Monday Night Football. A win for San Francisco that was much needed, and a win that vaults the Niners to 8-4 on the year. And let me just say this. The fact that this Niners team, with all of the injuries that they have suffered on both sides of the ball, 2 star players and depth pieces, it is incredible what Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh have done this year. I think Robert Saleh, given the parts and the ingredients and the cards that he's been dealt, has to be one of the finest defensive coordinators in the NFL with his performance this year. And Kyle Shanahan needs to be the NFL Coach of the Year. I know that Mike Vrabel is in the running, and what he's doing with the New England Patriots and that turnaround is great. He's also had Drake May all year. And I know both teams have had a last place schedule, but New England not dealing with the litany of injuries that the Niners have dealt with, and they are firmly in this playoff race in a wide open NFC. They have as many wins as the Seattle Seahawks. They maintain their position to be a wild card team after Week 12 going into Week 13, and I just need to acknowledge the job that Kyle Shanahan has been able to do as the head coach for this team. It's not just play calling. It's not just offensive design. It's not just play designs, game managing. It's having his team still believing and prepared every single week to take the field. And for Robert Saleh, you lose Nick Bosa. You lose Fred Warner. Statistically, you have one of the worst pass rushes in the National Football League, and you're still able to keep this defense's head above water. And in a performance like we saw tonight, this defense was dominant. Now, I said all week that going into tonight, it was kind of crazy that Carolina had 6 wins on the year because they can't get after the quarterback, and their quarterback play has been bad. But this was still a dominant all-around performance for the Niners on offense, defense, special teams, and it's a win that they needed to move to 8-4, maintain a good spot in the NFC playoff picture, but the teams in front of them in the NFC this weekend all won. A team behind them on their heels, the Detroit Lions, also won. The teams in front of them, Green Bay, Chicago, Seattle, the Rams, those are all teams that the Niners are competing with and against for a playoff spot. They won. The Niners needed to win this game as well. And you look at the team-by-team comparison here, Niners put up 340 yards of offense to the Panthers 230. Brock Purdy passes for 193 yards. Bryce Young has no arm, threw for 161. The quarterback play in this game was dreadful. The Niners run it for 147 yards. The Panthers only had 69 rushing yards. That's back-to-back games in which this Niners rushing defense has been really sound. The Niners were 7 of 13 on third downs. That's more than 50%. The Niners defense holds Carolina to 1 of 7 on third downs. And the Niners only had 2 penalties for 6 yards. I thought they played a physical downhill game. I thought they played a clean and smart game outside of the turnovers. And when I say smart, I'm talking about the defensive game plan, the defensive emphasis, and then Kyle Shanahan running the football. But we do have to talk about Brock Purdy here. Brock Purdy was awful in this game. There is no other way to put it. And if you were a Niner fan defending Brock Purdy, we might as well get you some Brock Purdy knee pads because he was terrible in this football game. And some people will say, Chase, he was shaking off the rust. He's still injured. Wasn't last week the game where he was supposed to shake off the rust? Wasn't last week the game when he threw interceptable passes but was still highly efficient, threw 3 touchdowns and no picks and looked pretty damn good? He was moving around last week. He was moving around this week. I thought he looked healthy, but he did not put any velocity behind the football. He put the ball in harm's way countless times, and he threw 3 interceptions in the first half alone, and he could have thrown more. What's concerning is that all of his picks came on passes of 15 or more yards. And on throws of 15-plus yards this year, Brock Purdy has 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions. 3 of those picks coming in this game. When you get paid $55 million per year, when you get paid $245 million, you will be held to a different standard. I have been a big fan of Brock Purdy. I have defended Brock Purdy since before he took a regular season snap for the Niners. I had said, I think this guy has some juice. I think he has something special. I had said that the Niners can't release him. They have to have him on the 53 because this guy has something to his game. But turnovers have become a huge problem for Brock Purdy. And he threw 2 against the Seahawks in week 1. He threw 3, and the Niners had 4 turnovers in week 4 against the Jags. And tonight, he threw 3 picks. That is problematic. Outside of that, I thought he was efficient, but after he was throwing those picks downfield, Kyle Shanahan made an adjustment. And he made an adjustment telling everybody that he did not trust Brock Purdy because there were no more long balls after what we saw in that first half. And you know what's concerning? The Niners go on the road to play the Cleveland Browns next Sunday on a short week. Myles Garrett has 18 sacks this year. And at the end of November in Cleveland, I looked at the forecast as of this Monday night. It is going to be cold. It is going to be wet. And if Brock Purdy can't drive the football in clean conditions in Santa Clara, California on a beautiful night, how is he going to throw the ball against Cleveland and that excellent defense that can get after the quarterback and is really, really good? That's a major concern looking ahead to next week. The Browns have a little bit of juice. Shedeur Sanders going to get the start once again. He won his first start on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. He played well to the point where Kevin Stefanski is going to start him. Brock Purdy and the Niners are lucky that they played the Carolina Panthers tonight. Because if they played a better team, there is no way that they would have won this game. Not only did Purdy throw 3 picks in that first half, Christian McCaffrey fumbled, and the Panthers had that fumble recovered, but then they lost it. And the Niners recovered it and ended up being a first down for San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey otherwise had a fantastic game tonight. But Brock Purdy needs to be better. Next 4 weeks for the Niners at Cleveland, bye. Tennessee out of the bye. And then they play Indy in primetime Monday Night Football in Week 16. So remember what I had said. The next 5 weeks and 4 games for the Niners, huge, coming off that loss against the Rams. And that could set themselves up to go on a stretch run, make the playoffs. And I said they're going to be favored in those next 4 games. They can win all of them. They beat Arizona, check. Beat Carolina, check. You got to beat Cleveland. The other thing, too, Kyle Shanahan is like 1 of 8 and 1-8 in his career against Jim Schwartz. More to get to here during our post-game reaction show. More takeaways to come, but I do want to get to our sponsor, our friends at PrizePicks, making tonight's San Francisco 49ers report possible. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. I mean, come on now. We have bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, great football matchups. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy? What should I bring to Thanksgiving? What to eat? What game should I watch? There is one place where it feels good to be right, and that is PrizePicks. New feature alert, PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Is your fantasy season already over? Your team might be cooked, but with PrizePicks, you don't have to wait until next year's draft. PrizePicks lets you play fantasy football every week. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections every week. No draft required. Here was our 2-pick power play tonight. 2 for 2. Chips picks. Christian McCaffrey more than 47.5 receiving yards. Ted McMillan more than a half rushing or receiving touchdown. CMC went over that mark. Ted McMillan caught a touchdown. Burt Renardo Green. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Want to talk about this Niners offensive game plan first, and then we'll talk about what the Niners did more so on defense as well. When the Niners have been able to get to 35 plus carries and find success on the ground, they're now 3-0 to my count. They beat Atlanta when they had 39 carries, beat the Giants when they had 39 carries. They beat the Panthers tonight when they had 38 carries. And as a team, they run for 147 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey had that rushing touchdown. There was only one explosive run, but I thought it was a downhill physical running attack that worked. What Christian McCaffrey is doing this year really is special. He is now leading the NFL in receptions. How insane is that? And from an all-purpose standpoint, he's putting together one of the more nutty offensive seasons that we've seen. Now, I don't think that he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year because his yards per carry number is pretty low. And it's the lowest since, I believe, his rookie year when he was with Carolina and he went off against his former team tonight. But as an all-purpose player, week in and week out, what he's doing is incredible. And it's a sight to behold. 24 carries for 89 yards tonight. And then 7 receptions for 53 yards. And that has me thinking, as I pull this up on the fly, we're doing this show live, so F it, let's go full send. I want to look at McCaffrey's game log this year because he's had all-purpose yards almost every single game this year, and he's averaging more than 100 all-purpose yards this season. So week 1, 13 carries, 81 yards, 5 catches for 40. Check. Week 2, 12 for 30, 8 for 66. Check. Week 3, I'm going backwards here. That was Arizona and the Rams. So going backwards. So tonight, check, over 100 all-purpose. Against Arizona, over 100 all-purpose. Against the Rams, 100 all-purpose. Against the Giants, 100 all-purpose. Against Houston, D'Amico did a great job against him. Against Atlanta, over 100 all-purpose. Against Tampa Bay, over 100 all-purpose. Against the Rams, first game, over 100 all-purpose. Against Jacksonville, over 100 all-purpose. Against Arizona, first go-around, over 100 all-purpose. Against the Saints, over 100 all-purpose. Against the Seahawks, over 100 all-purpose. There has been one game this year where Christian McCaffrey has not had more than 100 all-purpose yards. That is wild. So maybe he has lost a little bit of a step, but for anybody saying that Christian McCaffrey is washed, no, he's not. This has ended up being a franchise-changing trade for San Francisco, and he's taken Kyle Shanahan's offense to another level. Thank the football gods he's been able to stay healthy this year. Everybody, knock on wood, get on your knees and pray that he can stay healthy for the rest of the year because he is the engine of this Niners offense. And I talked about this when he was with the Panthers before I was here at Chat Sports. His ability to be a receiver with the footwork and the hands that he has can help extend his career, and we're seeing that. And also, this Niners trade for Brian Robinson, a very smart trade. He ran hard tonight, and on that first drive, he was very physical. 7 carries for 40 yards on the night, 5.7 yards per carry. You look at his numbers here to my right, and he was a focal point on a statement opening drive for the Niners, where they started this game in such impressive fashion. 15 plays, 72 yards, taking 8:43 off the clock. Jauan Jennings bounced off 3 defenders and scored a touchdown. What a way to start the game for the Niners. After that, it got wobbly. Brock Purdy with those 3 picks. But they played Carolina, and they pulled away, and this defense was excellent. Only gave up a field goal and a touchdown, and then they got a stop on a 2-point conversion from the 1. As far as this Niners defense goes, talked about them a little bit earlier. I thought at times they were able to move the pocket and generate pressure on Bryce Young. Last week, Jacoby Brissett dropped back 57 times. Niners didn't sack him once, and they only had 13 pressures. Pressure number's not out yet, But the Niners as a team, 3 quarterback hits. They did have a sack. It went to Cleveland Ferrell. His second sack this year with the Niners, only joined going into that Giants game. And they also had 4 pass breakups. And I really like how they played in the secondary. Renardo Green had a PBU. Jair Brown had 2 PBUs. Upton Stout had a PBU, nearly a pick. And let's talk about Jair Brown. Chip was pulling up his name right as I was saying it. That's how you know we've been working together for a long time. That's like that Brock Purdy to George Kittle connection. Too easy. But for Jair Brown, much maligned player, was good in year 1, replacing Talanoa Hufanga, wasn't good last year, hasn't been good this year. If the Niners can get better play from their safeties, it will do wonders for this defense. And tonight, Jair Brown had his best game as a pro. 2 interceptions of Bryce Young, 1 in the end zone, both making breaks on the football, and 2 plays that really ended up changing the course of the game. Because even that second pick came when the Panthers were kind of driving it and within range of maybe pulling off the upset as touchdown underdogs. And the Niners safety play all year just hasn't been good. And I know that Robert Saleh's mixed it up. He's played Jair Brown and Jason Pinnock as a hybrid nickel and a big linebacker. We've seen Jason Pinnock start, then get benched. Now he's playing more. We saw Marquis Siegel start as a rookie, now get benched. Robert Saleh's been trying to feel it out. And over the last couple of weeks, it's really been 3 safeties who have been getting a lot of run. Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa, and Jason Pinnock. And I think those are the 3 safeties that you're going to see for the rest of the year. But this safety play has just been so bad. So it's good to see Jair Brown play better and make some big plays. I think he needs it too, as a little bit of a confidence boost. I liked him at Penn State. Niners used a 3rd-round pick on him. They need these picks to start playing and producing. And that was a good step in the right direction for Jair Brown. And hopefully that can get his career back on track. George Kittle, 6 catches for 78 tonight. McCaffrey, 7 for 53. I thought Jauan Jennings had a really good game. 5 catches on 12 targets. Purdy forced the issue to him a couple of times, but he made some big plays in this game, including that really tough 12-yard touchdown. Ricky Pierce, I thought, was going to have a big game. Purdy just hasn't been able to connect with him. I do think he's been open on a couple of occasions. Purdy had him for a touchdown, underthrew the ball. I think that connection is getting close to breaking out. But much needed win for the Niners. The NFC West right now is crazy. Rams 9-2, Seahawks 8-3, Niners 8-4. And you look at the NFC playoff picture, this is updated here. Rams have the number 1 seed at 9-2. Eagles drop down to the 2 seed at 8-3. Eagles will play the Bears on Black Friday. Bears also 8-3, 7-1 since starting the year 0-2. If the Panthers had won tonight, they would have been in that 4th spot. Buccaneers hold on to that at 6-5. Seahawks, the first wildcard team at 8-3. NFC West is loaded. Packers at 7-3-1, the 6th seed. And then the Niners 8-4, the 7th seed. So things in a good spot for San Francisco here. And again, what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do. Really impressive, and it might be his best coaching job since he took this job in 2017. All right, hit me up on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Chase_Senior. I'm giving you additional Niners content over there. And I made the handle the same on all platforms. Massive platforms here. Just launched a TikTok the other day. Thanks to everybody who gave me a follow there. And of course, hit that sub button. As always, thank you so much for watching.